Talking about the Cummins Big Cam is to remember a time when power and durability were everything. The decade of 1970 was a complicated era for the heavy transportation industry. The energy crisis took its toll, and at a time when everything seemed uncertain, Cummins decided not to wait for conditions to improve on their own. In 1975, the company launched its Formula series, a direct response to market demands for more efficient engines. These engines introduced a fundamental change: the reduction of the rated speed of the engines to improve fuel consumption. Although the technical details of these adjustments may seem simple in retrospect, the Formula series was an essential step toward a new paradigm in engine design. While the Formula engine and the Big Cam engine have much similarity, they are really different, although both belong to the same family of engines in the Cummins series. With that in mind, the Formula series was the beginning of a shift in Cummins engine engineering, but the real revolution in their engines came with the introduction of the Big Cam series in the late 1970s. With the oil crisis of 1973, horsepower in engines was the least important factor. And with that idea, Cummins launched the Big Cam 1 in 1977. This engine came with a clear promise: to offer better fuel performance without sacrificing power. Pay attention here. The most important, without a doubt, was its larger camshaft that went from 2 inches to 2.5 inches, hence the name Big Cam, or Big Camshaft. This change allowed a more precise control of fuel injection, improving efficiency, and a reduction of overheating. In fact, hand in hand with this and other programs, it was achieved between 1976 and 1979, a 15% improvement in fuel economy. It is true that those great friends that mounted one of these engines under the hood remember the Big Cam 1 as an engine that provided a feeling of robustness, giving a power range between 290 and 400 horsepower. Yes, the drivers knew that they could rely on it for long journeys without interruptions, which was essential in a time where time on the road was money. What few mention is that for many, the Big Cam 1 not only represented an improvement in all technical aspects, Big Cam 1 represented a breath of relief at a time when the industry desperately needed advances in efficiency. In a post-oil crisis world, having an engine that optimized fuel consumption was almost an act of survival. Only 2 years later, in 1979, Cummins presented us with the Big Cam 2. In appearance, it might seem like a natural continuation of the first model, but under the hood, there were important changes. One of the most significant advancements was the improvement in fuel injection, and it now featured a demand flow lubrication system, which allowed for better oil management and greater durability, making it even more efficient than its predecessor. If the Big Cam 1 had already amazed with its savings capacity, the Big Cam 2 took that savings to a new level. An important fact is that for this year, that of 1979, Cummins dominated 40% of the heavy transport market. However, at a time when concerns about the environment were beginning to gain strength, the Big Cam 2 helped to reduce exhaust emissions, largely thanks to the engineers at Cummins who incorporated an improved cooling design, which helped the engine become more efficient in its performance, and therefore, as I already mentioned, cleaner in terms of emissions. It should be noted that the Big Cam 2 had a power range similar to that of the Big Cam 1, but its efficiency was what truly made it stand out. However, it was in 1982 when things really solidified with the Big Cam 3, one of the versions most remembered by the drivers of the time. This engine brought with it a feature that many did not expect. It was quieter. For anyone who had spent hours behind the wheel, this improvement was no small matter. The Big Cam 3 offered a more comfortable driving experience thanks to a notable reduction in engine noise levels. In addition to the noise reduction, the Cummins Big Cam 3 included direct fuel feed injectors (DFF), a 3-pass aftercooler, a 2-pass oil cooler, a full-flow lubrication filter, a stamped steel oil pan instead of aluminum as before, and the incorporation of whole-set turbochargers. Being in this, the Big Cam 3, the first product of Cummins to use this type of turbo. Big Cam 3 reaches up to 400 horsepower in some configurations, making it one of the most powerful engines of its time. Many will remember how the Big Cam 3 could handle everything: steep climbs, long days under the sun or in the cold, everything without losing pace. But perhaps the most significant aspect of the Big Cam 3 was the evolution in terms of emissions control. This engine introduced systems that improved diesel combustion. Despite the fact that environmental regulations were still in their infancy in those years, Cummins was already anticipating the demands that would come later. Finally, in 1984, Cummins presented the Big Cam 4, the last in the line of these legendary engines. But it was not until 1987 with the so-called new Big Cam 4 that stage timing control and mechanical variable synchronization were introduced, and later fixed injection timing synchronization. Of course, this engine, the new Big Cam 4, was equipped for the future incorporation of electronic controls, something that was beginning to gain traction in the industry, which, although it seems normal today, at the time was a radical innovation that opened the door to a new era of much more efficient and sophisticated engine. A point to highlight is that, in many ways, the Big Cam 4 represented the pinnacle of technological evolution for this series and was the first Cummins product fully equipped with a hull-set turbo. Additionally, with a power output that reached up to 444 horsepower, the Big Cam 4 was the most powerful of them all. Imagine the level of success of the Big Cam that by the early 1980s, Cummins held 63% of the heavy truck market in North America, meaning that more than 50% of heavy trucks in North America had a Cummins engine under the hood. However, not everything is perfect, and Cummins had to make some mistakes to keep learning and improve its future products. It was then that the 88 Big Cam 4 version, better known as the 88 NT, made its appearance in a world that would reject it. The 88 NT, part of the Big Cam 4 series launched by Cummins in 1988, was an ambitious attempt to meet emissions regulations. However, despite good intentions, this model ended up being a kind of blemish on Cummins' track record of success. The 88 NT incorporated a significant increase in fuel injection pressure to reduce emissions. The problem was that this advancement, although technically innovative, exceeded the limits of what the engine design could withstand. The injectors began to fail, and the overall reliability of the engine was severely affected. Many users experienced issues with internal components and performance, which quickly damaged Cummins' reputation in the heavy truck market. This episode was an unexpected blow, as it came from a series that had been very successful until then. Despite its good intentions, the 88 NT is remembered as a mistake in the Big Cam line, so much so that it nearly drove Cummins to bankruptcy until a savior appeared, the Cummins N14. But we will talk about it in another chapter of our series, Only What Is Named Exists, where we tell and relive the history of trucks and diesel engines. So, if you don't want to miss any episodes, subscribe to the channel and of course, share this information with everyone in the community. Also, check out the story of Caterpillar's 3406 engine. With that, I'll sign off, but not before saying, as you already know, I'm your friend Misael Oznaya, and you're watching Kilometers Traveled.